The rain pounded against the windshield as Mr. Harlan gripped the steering wheel tighter, his knuckles turning white. I sat in the passenger seat, heart racing, not from the storm outside but from the words that had just slipped from his lips. Leo, I've been fighting this for months, but I can't anymore. I think I'm falling for you. In that moment, the world tilted, and I realized the detour he'd taken wasn't just from the highway. It was straight into forbidden territory that could destroy everything. My friendship with his son, my fragile sense of self, and the carefully constructed facade of our small-town lives. It all started innocently enough, or so I thought. I was 22, fresh out of college with a degree in psychology that felt more like a mirror to my own messed-up head than a career path. Growing up in suburban Ohio, I'd always known I was different, but coming out wasn't an option. Not with a family like mine. My parents were the epitome of Midwestern conservatism. Church every Sunday, backyard barbecues with neighbors who voted red without question, and a silent agreement to never discuss anything that might rock the boat. My dad, a factory supervisor, had once casually remarked over dinner that those people were just confused, and my mom nodded along, her eyes pleading for harmony. So I buried it deep, dated a couple of girls in high school to keep up appearances, and focused on my studies. But the truth gnawed at me like a persistent ache. That's where Ethan came in. He was my best friend since freshman year of high school, the kind of guy who could make you laugh even on your worst days. Ethan's family was different. His parents had divorced when he was 10, and he lived with his mom most of the time. But his dad, Mr. Harlan, David, as I'd later call him, was this larger-than-life figure. A successful architect in Columbus, he had that effortless charisma. Tall, broad-shouldered, with salt and pepper hair and a smile that could disarm anyone. He picked Ethan up for weekends, took us to baseball games, and always asked about my life with genuine interest. "You're a smart kid, Leo," he'd say, clapping me on the shoulder. "Don't let anyone hold you back." I admired him, maybe more than I should have. The night of the storm was supposed to be just another hangout. Ethan and I had been at a local bar celebrating my new job as a counselor at a community center. Ethan got wasted, as usual, and called his dad for a ride home since I didn't have a car. David showed up, his SUV cutting through the downpour like a beacon. "Hop in, boys," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. Ethan passed out in the back seat almost immediately, snoring softly as we pulled away. I figured it'd be a quick drop-off at Ethan's mom's place. Then David would take me the extra 10 minutes to my apartment. But as we drove, the conversation flowed easily about my job, his latest project designing eco-friendly homes, the state of the world. Then the rain intensified, visibility dropped to 0, and David suggested we pull over at a rest stop to wait it out. We sat there, engine idling, the wipers swishing rhythmically. That's when things shifted. David turned to me, his eyes searching mine in the dim glow of the dashboard lights. "Leo, you've grown into quite the man. Ethan's lucky to have a friend like you." I laughed it off, but my stomach flipped. There was something in his tone, a vulnerability I'd never heard before. He confessed he'd been divorced for years, lonely in ways he couldn't explain to his ex or his son. "Sometimes I wonder if I've been living someone else's life," he said quietly. I nodded, sharing my own doubts about fitting into the mold my family expected. The air thickened, charged with unspoken truths. And then, out of nowhere, he leaned in slightly, his hand brushing mine on the gear shift. The touch sent a jolt through me, awakening feelings I'd suppressed for so long. But I pulled back, panic rising. "Mr. Harlan, we can't." He apologized immediately, blaming the late hour and the storm. We drove on in silence after that, dropping Ethan off first. As we headed to my place, the tension built again. That's when he said it, the confession that shattered the night. Falling for me? It was insane. He was 45, straight as far as anyone knew, and my best friend's father. Yet, in that moment I felt seen, truly seen, for the first. The detour he took wasn't physical. It was emotional, veering us off the safe path into a maze of secrets and desires. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache, replaying the scene over and over. Had I imagined it? No, the text from David confirmed it. I'm sorry if I crossed a line last night. Can we talk? I ignored it at first, throwing myself into work. But the seed was planted. Over the weeks, subtle interactions piled up. Accidental meetings at Ethan's games, lingering glances, late-night messages that started innocent but grew deeper. I confided in no one, wrestling with the guilt. Was this betrayal? Ethan trusted me like a brother. And what about David? He had a reputation to uphold, a career where whispers could ruin everything. One evening, after a particularly grueling day counseling teens struggling with identity issues, ironic, right? I agreed to meet David at a coffee shop outside town. We sat in a corner booth, the hum of conversation masking our words. This is wrong, I started, but he shook his head. Is it? Or is society wrong for making us feel this way? He spoke of his own repressed feelings, how he'd married young to please his parents, how the divorce had been a relief but left him hollow. Listening to him, I saw my future if I didn't act, trapped in a life of pretense. Our hands touched under the table, a small act that felt revolutionary. But the conflicts mounted. My parents started pressuring me about settling down, introducing me to their friends' daughters. "You're not getting any younger, Leo," my mom said over Sunday dinner. I smiled through gritted teeth, the hypocrisy burning. Meanwhile, Ethan noticed something off. "You seem distant, man. Everything okay?" I lied, hating myself for it. The first real crack came when David invited me to his office for advice on a project. Alone in the sleek space, surrounded by blueprints, the attraction boiled over into a kiss, brief, intense, and laden with regret. We pulled apart, breathless. "We have to stop," I whispered, but we didn't. As the affair deepened, stolen moments in parks, discreet dinners in neighboring cities, the stakes rose. David began questioning his role as a father, torn between his love for Ethan and this newfound passion. I grappled with my identity, the fear of outing myself in a community where being gay meant judgment, lost jobs, estranged family. The tension was palpable, every decision a tightrope walk. One wrong step and it all crumbled. The secrecy became a double-edged sword, slicing deeper with each passing day. David and I met whenever we could, our conversations a blend of passion and paranoia. "What if Ethan finds out?" I'd ask, lying in his arms in some anonymous motel room. He'd stroke my hair, murmuring, "We'll figure it out. This is real, Leo." But reality intruded harshly. Ethan's 23rd birthday party was the tipping point. His mom hosted it at her house, a lively affair with grilling burgers and backyard games. David was there, playing the doting dad, while I hovered on the edges, avoiding his gaze. Midway through, Ethan pulled me aside. "Dude, you've been weird lately. Spill it." I deflected with work stress, but he wasn't buying it. Later, as guests thinned out, David and I stole a moment in the garage. "I can't keep this up," I said, my voice cracking. He pulled me close, but the door creaked open. Ethan, looking for tools. He froze, seeing us disentangle awkwardly. "What the hell?" The accusation hung in the air. David stammered an explanation about helping me with a jacket, but Ethan's eyes narrowed. He didn't press then, but the seed of doubt was sown. That night, the fallout began. Ethan texted me at 2 a.m. "Is there something going on with you and my dad?" I denied it, but the lie tasted like ash. The next day, he confronted David over lunch. "Leo has been acting strange, and you two seem close." David played it cool, but inside he was unraveling. He confessed to me later that evening, in a park under the cover of dusk. I almost told him everything. "He's my son, Leo. I can't betray him like this." The word stung, highlighting the impossible choice. Love or family? My own family added fuel to the fire. My sister, Lisa, visited from Chicago, sensing my distraction. "You're hiding something," she said over coffee. I brushed it off, but she persisted. Lisa was the progressive one in our family, having moved to the city and embraced a more open life. "If it's about who you are, Leo, you can tell me." Her words cracked my armor. That night, I broke down and told her everything. Not just about David, but about me. She hugged me, promising support, but warned, this could blow up. Dad's not ready for this. The conflicts escalated when David's ex-wife, Sarah, got wind of rumors. Ethan had mentioned the garage incident casually, and she pieced things together with her own suspicions from the marriage. She called David furious. Are you seeing someone? And it's a man? Our son's friend. The phone call turned into a screaming match, with Sarah threatening to tell Ethan if David didn't come clean. David, cornered, decided to confess to his son. It's the right thing, he told me, his face etched with pain. But I begged him not to. Fear gripped me, visions of losing everything. The confrontation happened at Ethan's apartment. David arrived unannounced, Ethan confused but welcoming. Son, I need to tell you something important. As David spoke, haltingly revealing his feelings for me, Ethan's face morphed from confusion to shock to rage. You? With Leo? My best friend. He stood, pacing. How long? How could you do this? David tried to explain, the loneliness, the unexpected connection. But Ethan exploded. You're my dad. And Leo, he's like family. This is sick. He stormed out, leaving David devastated. I got the call from David minutes later, his voice broken. He hates me, Leo. What have we done? I rushed over, but Ethan wouldn't answer my texts. The betrayal cut deep. I'd sacrificed our friendship for a love that now felt tainted. Days blurred into a haze of regret. At work, counseling kids facing similar identity crises, I felt like a fraud. How could I advise them to be true to themselves when my truth had caused such pain? Society's weight pressed harder. Whispers started in our small circle. Friends noticing Ethan's distance from both of us. My parents invited me for dinner, oblivious but probing. You've been scarce. Is there a girl? My dad's casual homophobia from years past echoed in my mind. Coming out to them seemed impossible now, entangled with the scandal. David and I met less, the passion overshadowed by guilt. Maybe we should end it, I suggested one rainy afternoon in his car, the same one where it began. He shook his head. I can't. But we need to fix this with Ethan. We devised a plan. Talk to him together, explain it wasn't just a fling. But Ethan refused, blocking our numbers. The isolation was crushing. Then came the turning point. Sarah, in a surprising twist, reached out to me. I don't approve, but I know David. He's not a bad man. Ethan's hurting. She mediated a meeting at a neutral cafe. Ethan showed up, arms crossed, eyes cold. Why? He demanded. I spoke first, voice trembling. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened. I'm gay, Ethan. I've hidden it forever. He softened slightly, admitting he'd suspected about me but never about his dad. David added, I love you, son. This doesn't change that. Ethan listened, tears welling. You both lied to me. That's what hurts. The meeting ended without resolution, but a crack appeared in the wall. Ethan unblocked us, agreeing to think it over. For David and me, it was a glimmer of hope amid the wreckage. But the cost was evident. Strained relationships, self-doubt, the constant battle against societal norms that deemed our love wrong. As weeks turned to months, the ripple effects spread like cracks in ice. Ethan slowly thawed, starting with terse texts to David about practical matters, holidays, family events. With me, it was radio silence at first, then a cautious coffee meetup. I don't get it, he said, stirring his drink endlessly. Dad's always been straight. And you, why him? I explained the connection, the shared loneliness in a world that didn't understand. It's not about choosing him over you, I said. It's about finally being honest. He nodded, but the hurt lingered. You both chose secrecy over trust. David faced his own demons. At work, a colleague overheard a phone call and started rumors. Is Harlan batting for the other team now? The joke stung, but more so the professional fallout. A big client pulled out, citing personal concerns. David confided in me. I've built my life on stability. Now it's crumbling. He considered therapy, something he'd avoided during his marriage. Our sessions together became a lifeline, unpacking years of repression. The therapist challenged us, love isn't the problem. It's the hiding that destroys. My family remained a powder keg. Lisa urged me to come out, but I hesitated. Then fate forced my hand. My mom found an old text from David on my phone while visiting. Who's this? Sounds intimate. Her eyes widened as she scrolled. I snatched it back, but the damage was done. Leo, are you? The word hung unspoken. That night, over a tense dinner, I confessed. I'm gay, Mom, and I'm seeing someone, David Harlan. My dad choked on his water. Eth's father? That's unnatural. The argument erupted. Dad's anger rooted in fear and tradition. Mom torn between love for me and societal expectations. What will people say? She whispered. I left that night crashing at Lisa's. She supported me, but the rift with my parents deepened. Dad stopped speaking to me. Mom called sporadically, her voice laced with sorrow. We raised you better. The moral quandary haunted me. Was pursuing happiness worth fracturing family bonds? David faced similar scrutiny from his extended family. Aunts and uncles clucking about midlife crises. Society's judgment amplified everything. In our conservative town, being out meant sidelong glances, lost invitations. A local church group my parents attended even held a prayer session for wayward souls. Subtly aimed at me. Ethan, caught in the middle, defended us sporadically but struggled with his own friends' reactions. Some guys are cool, others think it's weird. His loyalty wavered, leading to a heated argument with David. You put me in this position. How do I explain my dad's dating my best friend? The climax built during Thanksgiving. Ethan invited us both to his mom's, a tentative olive branch. Sarah was civil, but tension simmered. Midway through dinner, my dad showed up unannounced, having heard from Mom. We need to talk, son. The room froze. He confronted David. You're old enough to know better. Leave my boy alone. David stood his ground. I love him. This isn't a phase. Ethan intervened. Enough. This is my family too. The chaos peaked with accusations flying, betrayal, selfishness, moral decay. In the aftermath, choices crystallized. I decided to move to Columbus for a fresh start, closer to David but away from the epicenter. We can build something real, I told him. But Ethan issued an ultimatum. If you two pursue this, I need space. The pain of that decision tore at us. David wavered. Maybe he's right. The cost is too high. For the first time, doubt crept in. Was our love worth the destruction? Yet, in quiet moments, we found strength. A walk in the city park, hands intertwined openly for the first time. Strangers stared, but we didn't care. The awakening was bittersweet. Freedom at the price of loss. The move to Columbus marked a new chapter, but the shadows of the past followed. I found a better job at a LGBTQ+ support center, counseling others while healing myself. David threw himself into work, designing inclusive spaces that reflected his evolving worldview. Our relationship deepened, no longer shrouded in secrecy. We attended Pride events tentatively, surrounded by acceptance that felt foreign yet liberating. This is what I've missed, David said, watching the parades. But every joy came with a reminder of the sacrifices. Ethan's distance grew. Holidays passed with awkward calls, no visits. Sarah reported he was seeing a therapist, processing the family implosion. One day, he emailed, I get you're happy, but it still feels like betrayal. The words reopened wounds. David blamed himself. I should have been stronger, ended it before it hurt him. Our arguments intensified. Me pushing for reconciliation, him retreating into guilt. What if we break up? Then what was it all for? My parents' rejection hit harder. Dad's silence was absolute. Mom's attempts at contact laced with conditions. If you end this madness, we can talk. Lisa mediated, but progress was slow. At a family reunion she organized, Dad cornered me. You're throwing your life away for what? A fling with an old man. His words echoed societal biases. Age gaps, same-sex love as invalid. I defended us. It's real love, Dad. Why can't you see that? He walked away, leaving me shattered. Moral dilemmas plagued us. Was it ethical to pursue happiness at others' expense? David's career suffered another blow. A partnership dissolved amid whispers. They say I'm distracted, he confided. I questioned my choices too, wondering if suppressing my feelings would have preserved peace. But therapy helped. Authenticity has a price, but so does denial. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. Ethan showed up at our apartment one evening, unannounced. I need to understand. We talked for hours. About my struggles, David's repressed life, the unintended hurt. Tears flowed. I felt replaced, Ethan admitted. David hugged him. Never. You're my son. It wasn't full forgiveness, but a start. Ethan agreed to occasional dinners, rebuilding brick by brick. Society's pressures didn't vanish. At work, I faced a client's story mirroring mine. A young man torn between love and family. Advising him forced self-reflection. The right path is the one you can live with, but doubts lingered. David's health scare, a minor heart issue from stress, underscored the toll. This life we chose, it's killing me, he joked darkly. We recommitted, but the fragility was evident. As winter set in, tensions peaked again. My dad suffered a fall, landing in the hospital. Mom called, desperate. He wants to see you. I went, David by my side despite protests. In the room, Dad looked frail. I don't understand, but you're my son. It was a crack, not absolution, but enough to spark hope. Ethan joined later, the four of us in awkward unity. The awakening deepened. We volunteered at community events, advocating for acceptance. David redesigned pro bono for LGBTQ+ centers. I wrote articles anonymously, sharing our story to help others. But the debates raged internally. Had we been selfish? Righteous? The answers blurred. With spring came tentative healing. Ethan integrated us into his life more, inviting us to his promotion party, where friends met us without drama. This is my dad and his partner, Leo, he introduced, the words a bomb. Sarah warmed too, admitting, I see how happy you make him. My parents progressed slowly. Dad attended a PFLAG meeting with Mom, grappling with change. It's not easy, he grumbled over coffee, but it was progress. Our relationship solidified, built on the ruins of conflict. We bought a house together, a symbol of commitment. No more hiding, David vowed. But scars remained, nights of doubt, arguments over past choices. Was it worth it? I'd ask. He'd pull me close. Every painful step. The ultimate test came at Ethan's wedding 2 years later. He asked David to be best man, me to stand as a groomsman. You've both taught me about love, the messy kind. The ceremony was emotional, vows echoing our own unspoken ones. In the reception, Dad approached David. Take care of my boy. A handshake sealed uneasy peace. Yet not all wounds closed. Some friends distanced themselves. Societal whispers persisted. David's career rebounded, but with caution. My work flourished, empowering others. The journey taught us. Love demands sacrifice, truth exacts a price. In the end, we stood stronger but forever changed. The conflicts, inner turmoil, family rifts, societal scorn, forged us. But one question lingers. Was pursuing our forbidden love a courageous act of self-truth, or a selfish choice that inflicted unnecessary pain on those we cherished?